My 2-year-old wouldn't let me out of her sight. She cried when I went to the bathroom, had a meltdown when I left the room, and clung to my leg constantly. I thought she was just going through a phase. Maybe she was naturally anxious or overly attached. Then a child psychologist watched how I interacted with her for one afternoon and said, "You're making 4 small mistakes that are actually creating the clinginess you're trying to fix." I was shocked because I thought I was being a responsive, loving parent. But these mistakes were so subtle I didn't even realize I was making them. Once she explained what I was doing wrong and why it was backfiring, I made changes immediately. Within 3 weeks, my daughter went from unable to play alone for even 2 minutes to happily playing independently, for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. The second mistake completely blew my mind because it's something we're all told to do. If your toddler is extremely clingy and you want to help them develop healthy independence, hit that like button and subscribe right now because these 4 mistakes are probably part of your daily routine, and understanding them will change everything. Let me start by explaining what healthy attachment versus clinginess actually means, because this is where most parents get confused. Healthy attachment is when your child feels secure in your love and availability. So they're comfortable exploring and separating from you because they trust you'll be there when they need you. Clinginess is when your child is so anxious about your availability that they can't separate from you without distress. It looks like attachment, but it's actually insecurity. And here's what's important to understand: clinginess isn't caused by too much love or attention. It's caused by inconsistent availability or by accidentally teaching your child that they can't trust you to be there. The first mistake I was making is something called sneaking away, and I bet you've done this too. When I needed to leave the room or leave my daughter with someone else, I'd wait until she was distracted and then slip away quietly to avoid a meltdown. I thought I was being smart, avoiding the tears and drama. But here's what this does to your toddler's developing brain. Every time you disappear without warning, you teach them that you're not trustworthy, that you might vanish at any moment. This creates anxiety, and that anxiety makes them cling to you even tighter because they're constantly worried you'll disappear again. The fix is counterintuitive but powerful. Always say goodbye, even when you know it'll cause tears. Get down on their level, make eye contact, and say, "Mommy's going to the bathroom. I'll be back in 2 minutes." Or, "I'm going to the kitchen to make lunch. You can play here. I'll be right back." Then leave calmly, and most importantly, come back when you said you would. The first few times, they'll cry. But consistency teaches them that when you say you're coming back, you do. This builds trust, and trust reduces clinginess over time. The second mistake, and this is the one that shocked me, is overhelping and hovering. We're told to be responsive parents, to meet our children's needs, to be involved in their play. But there's a line between responsive and intrusive, and I was crossing it constantly without realizing it. Every time my daughter reached for a toy that was slightly out of reach, I'd get it for her. When she was playing and seemed even a little bit frustrated, I'd jump in to help. When she was exploring something, I'd hover right next to her, narrating and assisting. I thought I was being a good mom, being attentive and helpful. But what I was actually teaching her was that she couldn't do things without me, that she needed me for everything. The fix is practicing what's called respectful observation. Stay nearby for safety, but don't constantly intervene. Let your child struggle a little bit with tasks that are age-appropriately challenging. Resist the urge to immediately help or fix. When they do get frustrated, instead of solving it for them, offer encouragement. "You're working so hard on that. I believe you can figure it out." This teaches them they're capable, which reduces their need to cling to you for everything. If you want parenting strategies based on actual child development research, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The third mistake is inconsistent boundaries and emotional reactions. My availability and responsiveness to my daughter was all over the place depending on my mood and stress level. Sometimes I'd drop everything when she called for me. Other times I'd be frustrated and tell her to wait or go play by herself. Sometimes I'd leave her with a babysitter with no problem. Other times I'd feel guilty and change plans. This inconsistency created massive anxiety for her because she could never predict my availability. And when children can't predict whether their caregiver will be available, they become hypervigilant and clingy. The fix is consistent, predictable availability. This doesn't mean being at your child's beck and call every second. It means creating consistent patterns they can rely on. If you're working and need uninterrupted time, communicate that clearly and stick to it. "Mommy has to work for 30 minutes, then we'll have snack time together." Set a timer they can see. Then when the timer goes off, follow through. When you say you'll be back in 5 minutes, be back in 5 minutes. This predictability teaches them they can trust your words, which reduces anxiety and clinginess. Comment below right now and tell me which of these first 3 mistakes you recognize in yourself. Be honest, we're all learning together. The 4th mistake is failing to create connection rituals before separation. I used to just drop my daughter off at daycare or with a sitter with a quick kiss and leave. But children need transition time to emotionally prepare for separation from their primary caregiver. Without a ritual, separation feels abrupt and scary. With a ritual, it becomes predictable and manageable. The fix is creating a consistent goodbye ritual that's the same every time. Ours became this. 3 hugs, 2 kisses, and I always say the same phrase. I love you. I'll be back after your nap. Have fun. Then I leave calmly without lingering or coming back. At first she still cried, but I stayed consistent. Within a week, the crying decreased dramatically because she knew exactly what to expect. The ritual gave her control and predictability in a moment that used to feel chaotic and scary. We also created reconnection rituals. When I pick her up or come home, I stop what I'm doing, get down on her level, make eye contact, and give her my full attention for 2 minutes before we transition to the next thing. This fills her emotional cup and reassures her that she's still my priority, which reduces clingy behavior later. Here's what happened in our home after I fixed all 4 mistakes consistently for 1 month. My daughter's clinginess decreased by probably 70%. She started playing independently for longer stretches. She stopped having meltdowns when I left the room. When I did need to leave her with someone else, the separation was so much easier because she trusted I'd come back. But the biggest change was in her overall confidence. She became braver, more willing to try new things, more comfortable in her own capability. Fixing the clinginess didn't just help with separation. It helped her develop genuine secure attachment, which is the foundation for healthy independence. I want to be really clear about something. Some clinginess at certain ages is completely normal and developmental. The 18-month to 2.5-year range often includes a clingy phase as part of normal separation anxiety. I'm not talking about normal developmental stages. I'm talking about extreme, persistent clinginess that interferes with daily life, and that's often accidentally reinforced by these 4 mistakes. Also, if your child has experienced trauma, major life changes, or if they have sensory processing issues or other developmental concerns, clinginess might have different roots that need professional support. These 4 mistakes apply to typical development and parenting patterns that create unnecessary anxiety. Let me give you a realistic timeline for seeing improvement. The first week after you stop these mistakes, your child might actually seem more clingy because they're adjusting to the changes. This is normal. Push through it with consistency. By week 2, you'll start seeing small improvements. By week 3 or 4, the changes should be significant. This isn't an overnight fix, but it's a lasting one if you stay consistent. Here's the beautiful irony about clinginess. The way to help a clingy child become more independent isn't to push them away or force separation. It's to build their trust in your availability through consistent, predictable, honest interactions. When children feel truly secure in their attachment, they naturally start to explore and separate because they're not anxious about whether you'll be there when they need you. The research on attachment theory supports everything I've shared with you today. Children with secure attachment, meaning they trust their caregiver's availability and responsiveness, are actually more independent, more confident, and better adjusted than children with insecure attachment. Clinginess is a sign of insecurity, not too much closeness. And these 4 mistakes, sneaking away, overhelping, inconsistent availability, and lack of separation rituals, they all create insecurity. If this video helped you understand why your toddler is clingy and what to do about it, please share it with another parent dealing with this. So many parents think clinginess is just their child's personality or something they have to tolerate. But when it's caused by these correctable mistakes, it can improve dramatically. Drop a comment and tell me which mistake you're going to work on first. Or if you've dealt with clinginess, share what worked for you. And make sure you're subscribed because we're building a community of parents who understand child development and use that knowledge to raise secure, confident, capable kids. Thank you for being here and for being willing to look honestly at your parenting patterns. Your toddler's clinginess isn't your fault, but you do have the power to help them feel more secure and develop healthy independence.